pulling out. I'm pulling out. I'm actually heading to go do some estimating. Let me take these lights down. I keep these on my mirror. That way at night I turn them on. And when I'm driving through certain neighborhoods or a neighborhood that I actually got, a project or two, they know exactly who's in the truck and they're not weirded out by a vehicle. Because nowadays people be spooking out. They be spooking out, y'all. Trying to record on my iPad while I'm driving here because my phone. I need to get something that staged this, mounted or whatever. That way, I can get better quality video. But anywho, I'm heading to go do some estimating right now, and estimating could be tricky. Definitely starting out in the Christian sliding business. What I've been doing originally, kind of the same thing I did with my landscape business, finding like my overhead costs, my break-even point, and all that stuff, man-hour labor, etc., insurance. And this business, it got of course, the employee payroll taxes, all that crap, right? All that is dialed into what I charge per customer. Because if you're not being mindful of all the costs associated with operating and running your business on a day-to-day, it can be a challenge when you're out just pulling numbers out of your butt based off of market pricing versus your actual cost. What I like to tell people, because I was talking to my brother about this the other day, I was like, hey man, like the cost of what people say is a standardized pricing, for traditional, holiday lighting, like the commercial grade stuff that we install. In reality, nobody should be just following somebody else's pricing without understanding how did they come to that number. In reality, I use that as, hey, this is what other professionals saying is a baseline pricing, so you can be profitable. Business and lifestyle is totally different, so the overhead is going to be different. For instance, you might have John out here who, he used to be in construction, let's say, so he got experience with being on top of rooftops and all that stuff. So he may move a little bit faster, so he's able to get things done and at a more efficient. Or he might have a bone lift that he owned, that he bought when he had a construction business or what. So he's able to do tougher jobs because he have the equipment that he purchased or whatever. But I say that to say, like, many different businesses can have different types of overhead. Some people, they don't even have employees, and they run, like, basically they subcontract. They subcontract a lot of their larger projects out. So in reality, they don't have that payroll taxes to worry about because they don't have any employees. In reality, they're their own employee, but if they don't have other employees that they have to be mindful of, that's a less overhead they have to worry about. Just a lot of little moving parts with this stuff, man. Some people might use QuickBooks and keep up with their own stuff. Other people, like myself, might have an accountant that keep all those things aligned. Overhead is different for every business, and based off of how all that stuff costs together, divided by 12 months in a year, that's how much it costs you to actually, at minimum, you have to be able to afford these type of services, because it's what is required for your business to run. So in reality, you can get down and get a little bit more granular when it comes to, like, when you're on a specific property, whether it's a single story, a two-story. It's, to me, I said this in another video, like, if you got a single story property or something like that you can actually do with holiday lighting, that's like very rare because the barrier to entry is very low. Anybody, a homeowner, or a neighborhood kid or handyman, anybody can do a single story. But when it comes to these 2- and 3-story houses, that ain't the easiest thing to do. It's hard to learn how to get up on double gables and be able to walk certain type of roofs, knowing what roofs you can walk and you can't. Some you have to do front of the houses with ladders and boom lifts, etc. But it's just one of those things that you have to be mindful of what is it costing per property. So evaluating that, going down to the linear feet of what people charge per linear feet. I always feel like it's subjective based off of what someone's overhead is like. So every price should be different. Like, and then it's also, some people might look at it as like, well, I'm cool with 30% profit margin. I'm cool with a 50% profit margin. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you, this business is very lucrative. So it's people that's definitely making well over. Like, they're not looking at it from a traditional standpoint of I want to make this percentage. They're looking at it as this is a luxury service and I'm providing this, and based off of the risk involved into it, and also the expenses. It's almost like they're paying for. You're selling the experience basically. You're not really selling material, because once you do the math on how much the material costs and stuff like that, people can be really charging, low prices, which I hear that they do in some of the southern states, Texas, etc. Like, people are competing on price. You don't want to fall into that realm of it becoming like a commodity style service where you're competing with, 100 companies, 50 companies, because like, I know you guys probably had this experience when you go on Facebook and you're in some of these private groups and somebody say, hey, I need lawn care. Hey, I need a landscape or whatever. How many comments do you see? You see 5, 10, 15, 20, 30. There's so many people that can do it. You know what I mean? And when more people get into this industry of, holiday lighting, and they're, not to say they're driving the market price down, the more people get in it, the more the price is going to get lower, because people want to just get business. They don't care about, what other people are charging. They're thinking about themselves. So the biggest thing that I'm working on continuing to do is separate myself from my competition. I'm doing that in so many ways. One of those ways is, you see this shirt, I'm a little tattoo. Everybody wears an elf shirt. So when people think of, Christmas lights, I'm trying to get them to think of elf. Like, I'm in a Charleston area. So like, there's a lawyer called Jeff Cook. There's a lawyer called, no, not lawyer. He's an actual real estate agent, real estate company. But there's a lady called Shelly Leak. When I think of lawyer, I think of Shelly Leak, because she's everywhere. She's known to be the lawyer on every, billboard. I think of her company. It's hard not to think of her company versus other companies. Same thing with, the dude Jeff Cook. When I think of real estate, I'm thinking about Jeff Cook. So what I say that to say is, building a strong brand and people feel like you're the authority in that area, because they like the way you present yourself. They like that, the quality of work that they've seen on your portfolio. All those are factors into why somebody would choose you over someone else. And also having actually, positive reviews as far as, customers, not just, you saying we do this great service, this, that, and the third. Like, actually having clients that's talking about it, like raving fans, clients. That's really what kind of separates you from, other people. So I've been working strongly on my customer experience. Like, I listen to a lot of entrepreneur stuff, and one thing I've been kind of trying to focus on in business in general, I don't like churn. Churn is basically when you have a customer, you get a new customer, next year come around, you lose a customer. And you may not lose that specific customer, but you lose a customer. The problem with that is, I feel like that's a piece of that is, if you didn't lose that customer for a legit situation, like actually, not being able to, perform the service, or not being able to meet their expectations or whatever, like, if you lose them for any reason like that, that's all a you problem. But when somebody, moves or, relocates, whatever, those are legit. You know what I'm saying? If people move, you can't control somebody moving, that's going to happen. But if anybody leave for any other reason, like pricing, etc., I try to avoid churn, because I want to keep my my client retention. I want to be able to retain a lot of my clients from the previous year. Reason being is, if we install a new install on a property and they stay with us for year 2, of course it's going to be much faster to complete that property versus because we've already got it mapped out, we have everything tagged, so we're able to complete that property even faster because we have a routing for this specific display. And so that helps with time and speed, and we're able to get that done more efficiently. When they drop off, yes, these things can be repurposed, but why repurpose them when you had an exact house that it fit and that customer still exists in the current area? They just decide to go a different route because for whatever reason. But one of those reasons should not be because pricing. It shouldn't be because bad customer service, etc. So I've been playing around with a few CRMs to try to improve these things because I feel like it's a lot of people drop the ball early when it comes to like communicating with the customer, making sure they're receiving their estimates fast. So I'm using, of course, it's a new day and age, y'all. We got AI, and there's CRMs that are really improved to the point where it takes a lot of those things that you have to do, and it loops them in one. Like for instance, when I send out an estimate to a client nowadays, like first off, if they send in, they put in an inquiry on my website, they go through my CRM. Once they hit my CRM, boom, an automation is triggered. That automation sends a brochure to this client so they get an idea of everything that we provide when it comes to our service. And then after that, it actually shows me what they're looking at and how far they've made it. So my brochure has about 7 to 8 files within it, but they don't have to do anything crazy, log into anything. It's not nothing crazy like that. It's very organic. So as soon as the inquiry comes through on the website, less than 60 seconds, it automatically sends them a brochure. They look at the brochure, they see all the stuff that I have to offer. Now they're more intrigued on other stuff that they could have selected within their quote. And they can still add that because typically when I send out a quote, it's lined item to the point where they can put together exactly what they want within the display, whatever fit their budget best. So 2 is the next thing that while they're looking at that brochure after I've already, communicated they made the inquiry, they received the brochure, and they're getting a more idea of the service. Then I'm working on the design, the conceptual design for the property, and they received that within 24 hours. When they receive the conceptual design, it shows exactly the design, and then they can schedule themselves, they can make their deposit, they can sign the contract all in one. So I'm trying to make it much easier for my client to buy. I don't want them having to try to figure out what to do next. When they have to figure out what to do next, that means something wasn't thoroughly communicated and there's lack of clarity. So improving that alone, I feel like, give me a little bit of a leg up on people that are within my area and things like that, because for one, I got the communication piece, I got the follow-up piece, and then also, like, say if they look at the quote, and they haven't made a decision, they haven't moved forward, my system automatically is within 2 days. I can set this whenever, but it has a follow-up system. A lot of us lose money on the follow-up, like literally. If you follow up with customers, sometimes life happens. People get busy. They don't, not to say they just ghosted you, but life get busy and they forget to go back into the estimate they were thinking about at one point, but now you sent them a reminder, automatic reminder, and it includes their name, it's personalized, etc. And that piece alone, helps them get back on track. And I've had clients book because of the follow-up. So there's money in the follow-up. You know what I'm saying? Don't assume that just because somebody sent out an inquiry and then they didn't, fully commit initially that they're not interested. Hey, maybe they had to go to the hospital. Maybe their kids had an event out of town, or maybe they went out of town. You don't know what reasons that they didn't complete. But having that follow-up system in place is how you're able to close some of these, still convert these prospects into clients. So that's one big piece that I've been focused on. That follow-up piece, but I have it to where it follow up 2 days and then it follow up 7 days. But after that, I do have expirations on my quotes. I don't want to send a quote to somebody and they think, they can approve it 2-3 weeks later either. So my quotes do expire because I don't want them to feel like they have a pricing that exists forever. No. This ain't that play. This type of season is very short. So not to say I'm trying to push somebody into a decision. However, I don't want them to sit on the decision that they have all the time in the world. They do need to make a decision. And being that I have a calendar to where they actually can schedule themselves, it actually makes it a little bit tough when they don't make a decision, because I can tailor my calendar for specific areas, because that can get a bit shaky as well. Like, there's a lot of levels that go into this, y'all. A lot of levels that go into it. And like the piece where I just said that they can schedule themselves. So for instance, they're in my CRM and now they're trying to schedule themselves. I don't want a client that's, let's say, a city over to schedule themselves in the time where I'm not in that area. So what I do is, for each particular client, I block out my calendar specifically. That way they have limited days that they can select, and that way I'm in the same area within the same time frame. That way I can run more efficient. I'm not going to this area, this week, and then next week I'm not in that area, but I got to go back to another area. But in the same token, that's more the reason why I try to get people to pre-book, because later in the season you are going to get inquiries of people in the same area, but it's later, and I may have already serviced that area, but that's when those back in, another time. But yeah, it's levels to this CRM customer service type stuff. But right now I'm actually driving to head to go complete for a tree job. When it comes to wrapping like trees and stuff like that, you don't do that on satellite, just because a tree, you might get an image of a tree and you can't clearly see how big that tree is. Like, if it's a palm, maybe, but when it's actually like a oak tree, a magnolia tree, or whatever, a cypress, arborvitaes, or whatever, you can't really tell by a picture how big those trees are. So I ain't gonna shoot myself in the foot and say, hey, your budget is $2 to $5 grand. Okay, this tree is gonna cost that. No, I'm not just gonna do that just because I understand their budget, because their budget may not suffice for what it actually costs to complete that project. So unfortunately, I don't like to drive out to properties to complete estimates. However, I'm not gonna set myself up, give them a price point, then they agree to it, and now I'm out completing a job because I promised to the customer based off the estimate without actually seeing the property, and it costs more in material, and now I'm taking the L. Been happening. So somebody's willing to spend anything over $2 grand. I don't mind visiting the property. Like, bro, it's an opportunity. Like, I can't be too high and mighty to just say, oh, if they gotta say no. These people, if they go with service, it'll be a profitable project. They set out. I like people who set aside their budget and have an understanding of their budget for what they want to do. Of course, when I get to the property, I might see some other opportunities, and I might try to upsell them however I can. Because when I do complete a estimate, I'm not just gonna go there and say, oh, do you want a basic roof line? Or you just want you just want this the entrance of this community? Nah, I ain't gonna just estimate that. You estimate everything, estimate it all, and then you itemize it. That's what I do. I ain't gonna say what you do. This is what I do. I itemize it. That way they can pick and choose what they desire to illuminate, because they might see something that I put into the design that they find more affordable and it look better, so they might go with that. You never know. But for that reason, I try to make sure I'm giving people options and stuff like that. But yeah, this drive to get to this property, what I'm heading to, was actually 30 minutes away. Is not crazy. It's literally the next city over. I'm just, I'll drive. When it comes to the type of business I'm in right now, I don't mind. I'll drive up to an hour out. Like, because to be honest, on a bad day and when there's traffic out, it's gonna take you time to get there anyways. And also, when they're a little bit farther away from my home location, far as where I store everything and equipment access, etc. Like, I do charge a little bit more, because if you have any type of service calls where you got to go back out to that property, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to go through the same traffic. You're still gonna have these barriers of things that you still got to travel to them. So it's time that it costs. And say if you got guys with you, that's windshield time. They're in the truck with you while you're heading out to complete a service call. But typically I try to do my service calls within 24 hours. Typically at the end of the day, once we've already completed our regular installs, based off of the type of service call that I know it is. I may bring somebody with me, or I may be by myself. Certain things I just try to make sure the customers getting the best experience, so they know that it's not like a basic type service, whatever. Guys, got any questions, man? Drop some questions, man. I'm driving out to go estimate a few oak trees. A prospect reached out to me, they want them wrapped, so I'm about to go out and price it. They got a budget of $2 to $5 grand. I'm gonna see exactly if I can fall within that range of their budget. If not, I am going to estimate additional things to try to see what can fit their budget, because if I'm going to travel to a property, I get a real-time view of the opportunities that's on that property. So I'm going to do my best to try to estimate stuff once I get there. I'm talking about Christmas lighting, estimating, how I estimate, certain type of jobs. Everybody is different, but I try to tell everybody when it comes to estimating jobs that people overheads are different. Like, not to say, oh, this person's at $6 a linear foot, this person's at $8 a linear foot, this person's at $15, $10. Like, the pricing varies for sure. Like, it definitely varies, and it varies, but it's one of those things. It varies because the person also went into a mindset that, hey, I can't get this. Check this out. My first year, I went by just a market pricing, and also me personally, I connect with my local competitors, because at the day, I kind of want to be in the realm of knowing what people can expect, but in the same token, I can't control their pricing. They can't control mine. But what we could do is reason and try to get on. Let me double check this GPS, make sure I'm in the right spot, y'all, because I got this property. I ain't trying to drive farther than I need to go. Let me make sure I'm going the right direction. I went to the city, but I didn't even put the address in yet, because I know where my ideal area that I'm going. I need to know exactly the house or wherever. Give me just a second. Oh, there we go. 8 minutes away. Almost there. Yeah, so about to estimate that, and I'm gonna put my elf hat on, brush my hair, man. I gotta go out. Can't be going out here looking all shabby, y'all. Gotta look to par. I'm gonna put my elf hat on so I represent. They know that I take this elf thing real serious. Recently I got a company that came out of Florida. They're in Florida, and they originated out of Florida, and they're actually out of Georgia as well. They got a secondary location in Georgia that they just started, and they just came to my area. But the thing is, they got my exact business name. Well, I ain't gonna say exact, it's flipped. And for anybody who would think of my business, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't get confused of my name and their name. They have Elves Christmas, and they have Christmas Elves. My business name is Elves Christmas Lights. Like, bro, that's super close. So I do have a little bit of more local influence as far as customer base and a little bit more of a reputation. But I don't think about competition like that. But in the same token, in this case, I don't want somebody to ride the wave of people seeing elves and then they're typing it in online and they're finding another company. So I just got to go harder and put myself out there a little bit more to make sure I'm bringing more awareness to my brand, because that's going to happen. People are going to duplicate you. People are going to duplicate your business however they can to try to, to get market share. You know, it happens. So I ain't mad about it. Hey, it's the game. Yeah. Y'all got any questions, man? I'm over here talking about estimating holiday lighting, displays, trees, and stuff like that. I'm kind of just babbling on about the business in general. Trying to post a few videos. I was actually in a property yesterday. I was on a rooftop. I think I went live, if I'm not mistaken. I created a video. I do need to post it. And there's just a few tips of how to travel on certain type of rooftops, because there's definitely different styles of roofs and stuff like that. But I left some gems in that video that I feel like people should talk about a little bit more. Sometimes you can hear stuff online, but I feel like sometimes when people are out in the field, there's things that they experience that if they don't, talk about it in detail, I think that would actually help, people who haven't got into the industry that's planning on getting into it, something to just be mindful of, being that they heard it prior to actually starting. So I do think that stuff like that is helpful. But yeah, I was talking about walking down like the alleys of like the rooftops. That's typically where the home joins together, like different parts of the roof, like a peak and maybe another piece of the roof. Walking down the alleys, walking on ridges, the material style shoes that you should probably have, just little stuff like that, and making sure you don't step on like the line or bulbs or anything, because if you step on a bulb, like a C9 bulb, like you're on that rooftop, right, you can slip. Like, not working in wet conditions, like if the humidity is high or it's morning dew, you don't want to really be on top of a rooftop when stuff like that is going on. Like, safety matters, and you don't want to slip off none of these rooftops, man. So y'all be safe out there if y'all thinking about getting into it. There's a lot of things I learned my first year, more things I learned my second year, and I learned more my third year. You learn something every year. You should, at least. That's what happened with growth. Growth is not linear. It just doesn't shoot straight up. It fluctuates. It's different things, different challenges. So always learning from previous years' mistakes and things like that is definitely necessary. Oh boy. Yeah. I'm driving through this back little neighborhood. Just see how this thing pan out, man. Almost there. It's gonna be a different style video. I'm about 5 minutes away from the property, and from the looks of it, I see a bunch of everybody got oak trees out here. See that oak tree right there? Big old oak tree. Yeah, usually estimating like trees and stuff, these things take so many strands, because going up the main trunk to other parts of like different branch sizes and stuff like that, it can take an abundance amount of strands, usually anywhere from 40 to 50, like, to make it look good. You can try to do less, but the standard of what we try to do to make it look good is have about 5 fingers in between each strand. That way it looks nice and tight and the lights are not too far away from each other. And usually when it's oak tree, you use minis versus, and I think I'll be using coaxial this year for like my trees, because I think it'll be a little bit more resistant to the weather versus actually my Edison plug-ins. But I've been liking the coaxial. Seems pretty cool. Those different style plugs, y'all, if you don't know what I'm talking about. It's how they attach, they lock in. Like if you look at like a plug on the wall and you plug like a plug into it, like at your regular home, that's considered like in a sense, an Edison style plug-in. The coaxial is actually like, it's like 2 prongs. You push them together, and it's like a bottle on a bottle top on a soda. You screw it from one to another, and it locks them in together. That prevents, weather. Like, I think that's a little bit more secure when it comes to the weather than other ones. Oh boy, where in the heck? Hey, that's a nice house. Jeez, that house is huge. That is a nice house. About being on these neighborhoods, boy, you see a whole bunch of opportunity. And me personally, I got some strategy on how to find exactly what I'm looking to get out of these properties. Like, as far as marketing to them and stuff. Like right now, I'm putting eyes on this neighborhood. I got a few resources when it comes to understanding exactly who I'm marketing to. And if I just know an area that I want to market to, I know how to reach the people. Shouts out to my brother. My brother's a civil engineer, and he developed roads. And me and him, he showed me some things. I ain't gonna lie about things that sometimes they have to do to reach out to people prior to doing some of the construction and stuff like that. And it has helped me in a good way, and it gave me a way to reach my prospects, my ideal clients, whatever area they're located in. Almost there, y'all. This property is pretty hidden. It's pretty hidden. I'm probably not gonna show you the guys the exact home or whatever for the privacy reasons, but as you guys can see, these houses are huge. This house huge. They got their own little dock and stuff in the back, etc. And this house, it's a decent sized house, not so big. But I'm gonna get off here, y'all, because I gotta do the estimating. I'm gonna follow up and let y'all know exactly how it went. I'm gonna take pictures of it. And I hope that's not the property. That house looks like trash, bro. I am not getting on that rooftop. All right, y'all.